Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all doing amazingly well today. And yes, in today's video, we're going to be discussing about a lot of things. We're going to be kicking off with the economic calendar. Okay, we have a lot of red-folded data coming this week. You can see right here. And after that, we're going to be talking about the economic surprise meter to see the general view of how the major currencies in the market are behaving. Maybe we're going to talk about the COT data, how the planning, how what the COT latest filing looks like this week. And after that, we're going to talk about the top setup. Where I'll be sharing my trading recommendation with you before we now jump into the chart to talk about my active trade, the trade I have running right now, and the ones that I'm recommending to you or for you come this coming week. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Before we do that, if this is your first time watching my video, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Okay, don't forget to like the video, don't forget to share with your friends. All right, and also if you're watching this on my social page, don't forget to follow me. I'll see you on the chat real quickly. So let's start with DXY before we jump into the fundamentals. Where is DXY standing right now? Or where do we actually stand on DXY? Don't forget last week, I said we have to, I did something last week where I actually expanded this particular zone. And last week I said, if we get a cross above this region, if you did watch the video on DXY last week, where I talk about Euro USD, Pound USD, what my position are going to be looking like, all right? And currently I'm actually shorting, I'm buying Pound Euro USD actually. I said it's there if DXY went ahead to fall, which was last week, I said I'm going to buy Euro USD. If DXY broke above here, okay, break above here, I will be shorting Pound USD. But you can see that is not, I mean, the later was the one that happened. Okay, DXY sold off last week. And now, taking a look at DXY right now, what is the plan? Okay, I mean, just look at it yourself and just, what do you think is going to happen? If we take a look at the economy, let's quickly take a look at the US dollar index. Okay, I mean, the US economic heat map. Okay, taking a look at this right in front of me, I'm seeing a very, very confused data, and I'm gonna let's break it down one by one. Okay, first off, we had a very serious the quarterly GDP that was released last month, July 30th, and after that we have manufacturing PMIs and service PMI, which was moderately decent, but the forecast was not what we got. We got something quite lower, which kind of signal both bearish for the stock market and the currency. Okay, so we had a very bad PMIs this month actually, August 1st and August 5th. Okay, the PMIs in the United States is terrible. We're having a contrasting economy in the United States because it is not booming, it's contrasting slowly, which is not very good at all. Now, we go and start taking a look at the inflationary data. Okay, last week Thursday, last week Friday, we got this retail sales month on month in the United States, and it came lower than what was forecasted. As a matter of fact, it even came lower than previous, all right, which is not looking very good for the US dollar. That is why we got that massive dump last week on the dollar. You can see this one right here. Okay, this particular one, this drop that we got last week, it is as a result of the retail sales that came quite horrible, okay, for the United States dollar. Let's continue. Okay, after that we saw the CPI and PPI came slightly higher and slightly lower. The CPI came quite higher than quite lower than what was forecasted, which is pretty good for the stock market. It's good for the economy, but it's bad for the currency. And that is why we saw something like a weak short on Tuesday. It's not on Tuesday, on Wednesday, it was on Tuesday. Okay, we saw gold pumped and dump. Okay, it pumped and dump because of the CPI. And when the PPI actually came, it came quite good for the dollar. You can see inflation on the producing side is getting higher, which is something that Trump said is not going to happen in the first place. He said tariff is not what leads to inflation. And based on what I explained last week, I mean, just by thinking about it alone, who do you think is going to pay for all these tariffs? It's the consumers, okay? During the Liberation Day, I think something around April 1st, during the Liberation Day, when the tariff started, when it was very young, okay, the tariff was just very fresh, all this production or producing countries or companies actually started cutting down their cost, okay, just to see what the tariff is going to look like. And a few months down the line, what happened? They increased the price again, okay. The consumer should should be able to carry the load. They are willing to pay the tariffs while they make it back from the consumers based on what selling their product expensive. This is something I would do myself. All right. So you can see that from the production part, inflation is getting higher. Although on the consumer part, inflation is still quite normal, pretty sticky between 2.8, 2.7, 2.5. Pretty sticky. But the moment it crosses above 3%, then it's crazy. We might see 4%, 4.5% inflation down the line if this tariff thing drag longer, which I think it might. And it's going to be very terrible for the US economy because the US equity is not going to boom at all. It's going to be very horrible. Okay, but let's pay close attention to the inflation. The PCE data came quite decent. Okay, just exactly as previous. All right, the labor data in the United States is not looking very good either. Okay, we have a very terrible non-farm payroll last week Friday. All right, I mean the week before last week Friday. All right, we have unemployment rate is quite decent. Okay, it keeps decreasing. Okay, the unemployment rate was actually the same, 4.2%. The same thing that was what was forecasted, although it's pretty higher than previous. Okay, previous we have 4.1%, but now we're having 4.2% unemployment rate. That is not very good at all. We just have to be clear on that. Okay, so the labor data in the United States is quite, or it's not very good. Let's put it that way. It's not bad, but it's not very good either. The initial double scheme that came out last week came very good. Okay, we had like over 4,000 people filed that they have gotten a job. They didn't file for stimulus check like they used to on the weekly basis. All right, just job opening was bad. All right, ADP looks very good, and NFP was horrible. All right, so when you take a look at this, it left the dollar on a 50% neutral. As a matter of fact, I would consider it to be 45%. Okay, this is not a kind of currency I will invest in or I will buy currently, or as I stand. I mean, taking a look at all this data. So now, if we go back to the chart real quickly, okay, taking a look at the chart right here, you will see that the dollar keeps getting weaker and weaker, and the pressure will remain so far DXY stay below 100. Okay, so far I stay below 100 right here, the pressure will remain. So where do we go from here? Can we end up seeing dollar at 96 right below here, or can we even see it at 94.66 right around this region? I mean, we just have to see how it plays out. Okay, I think the Fed would love inflation to come down, which would be very, very terrible for the dollar. Anyways, I think the strategy is to weaken the dollar a little bit to be able to cut rates and see where it goes from there. But dollar is not having it. Okay, now this is my own general view on the dollar. Okay, you might have yours. Okay, you should have yours as a matter of fact. But if you have none, I think what I just explained to us is good enough for us, for you and I. Okay, well, so now moving forward to what to expect on the technical perspective. Now, considering the weakness, I would be leaning towards bearish. The moment it breaks below 97.40 region, right around the zone, I will be leaning super bearish on DXY. However, anything above 98.50, above this region right here, I will lean bullish on DXY. So that is where I'm at on a technical perspective. But currently, it doesn't look like something that would be breaking to the upside anytime soon. And now, that's where I'm at. Okay, so I'm currently holding a buy trade on EU and NZD US dollar. Okay, the NZD dollar was a very slow and low risk trade, but my EU was more of a, you will see when I share with you later. Okay, so now let's talk about the economic calendar coming next week. We're talking about DXY. I mean, right now, either buy or sell, but I'm quite leaning bearish on DXY for now. I'm leaning bearish on DXY. Maybe we're gonna get a further deterrent in price all the way back to this particular demand zone. All right, and then wherever it goes from there, I'll watch out for anything below this particular zone. I am bearish on DXY. I think we've already covered that a very long time. All right, I said it before and I'm going to repeat it again for the people at the back or people that are just watching the video or my content for the first time. All right, so this is what the plan is. Anything inside this box, anything above here, and there's some things that we can expect below here. You can see they are of different colors. So let's stamp it. Okay, so this is it. So this particular one, which is number one, this is where I am fully bullish. Okay, this is what I call number two right here. Okay, this particular one, this is where I'm completely bearish. All right, I will only sell DXY the moment the market price will be below here. Simple arithmetic. Okay, and this right here is where I call number three. All right, which I am neutral. All right, neutral. It can be bullish and it can be bearish. Right now, I'm just neutral on DXY. All right, anything inside that box, that is where I'm at right now. That's where my head is. on a technical perspective and on the fundamentals. On the technical perspective, on the fundamentals, I'm leaning bearish. Just that. All right. So I'm very sure we've been able to cover almost everything that we need to cover on DXY. So let's jump straight into the what's it called again? What we have right here on the economic excuse me, what we have on the economic calendar. So first off, we have the Canadian CPI inflationary data coming. We have the inflationary data coming in Canada next week, Tuesday. Monday it's going to be very flat. Okay, we don't really have any high impact data. All right, so if not, there's no medium impact anyway. So we're just quite clean on Monday. So on Tuesday, we're having some very serious CPI month on month, median CPI year on year, and trim CPI, the annual CPI literally. All right, so it's all forecasted to come pretty hot. All right, the CPI month on month is expected to come crazy, but with 0.3%. Okay, 0.3%. Okay, if we have anything above 0.3%, 0.4%, that would be very crazy for the CAC. All right, the other, which is the median and the trimmed, are all forecasted to come just as previous. So pay close attention to that. On Wednesday, we have the Reserve Bank of New Zealand will be cutting another 25 basis points, which will make it the the third time they will be cutting rate this year. Although they've announced 4 times, okay, however, they've cut only 3 times. So this will make it the third time they will be cutting rate this year. So let's pay close attention to that. This has already been priced in on New Zealand dollar. Okay, that is why we got that crazy dump and when the PPI came out on Friday, because I was holding a buy on NZD that caught me out because I was trimming. I was trading very tightly. Then I joined another long on NZD. Okay, because the structure is still very intact. I will share with you when we're there. So back to NZD, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand is cutting rate by 25 basis points. I guess we see how that goes. I think they're going to just cut 25 basis points. They're not going to surprise, so I don't see them surprising us or whatnot. But let's pay close attention to that. Okay, the UK CPI year on year is also coming. It's expected to come pretty hot. Okay, tariff is getting close to them as well, to the consumer part. All right, the inflation has never really left the United Kingdom, anyways, because you can see right here, even though the Bank of England inflation target is 2% or 2.2%. I can't really remember, but it's not more than 2. It's not above 2.5%. Just so we're clear. But you can see right here, the Europe, Canada, New Zealand, United States, most of their counterparts, their inflation has come down drastically. That's why Reserve Bank of New Zealand is cutting rate. Reserve Bank of Australia is cutting rate. Fed is planning to cut rate. ECB has already cut their rate to the bare minimum. All right, so this is why we still have but the inflation in UK is still very sticky, it's still very hot. So they actually cut rate the last time the Bank of England actually met. All right, but I don't see them cutting rate in the next couple of months. All right, but let's see how it goes. Okay, it might not, but inflation is pretty hot over there. So that's that. We have FOMC meeting minutes coming, so they're gonna give us some insight on what to expect in the next FOMC meeting. So let's pay close attention to that. And on throughout Thursday, we have PMIs in Europe, we have in the United Kingdom, and we have the unemployment rate in the United States, and we have flash manufacturing PMIs and the flash service PMI in the United States. So it's all PMIs on Thursday. So pay close attention to that. We're going to see the economy that's contrasting and the one that is booming. Okay, because that's what it means. Anything above 50, it means the economy is booming. Okay, the PMIs, okay, or the IV PMIs, whatever it's called. So 5 has PMIs at the back, it can either boom or contrast. Okay, so pay close attention to that. And lastly, on Friday, the Fed Chair Powell will be having his speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium. As usual, they do have this kind of symposium every now and then. So both the Fed in the United States and Governor Bailey, the United Kingdom, both the central bank chairman, whatever they're called, all right, you know what they're called. So they will be having a speech. Pay close attention to that because they will be giving us an hint on what the Fed, especially what Powell has to say on Friday. He's going to give us some hints. The market might actually take a turn. You know how it goes when Powell is saying one or two. But if you're a beginner and you don't know how it goes, that's one of those times that you don't want to trade. You just want to listen to what he's saying and we'll look at gold and look at DXY and see how the market is reacting to what the Fed is saying, which is Powell is the Fed. Okay, so whatever I said, you're going to see the impact and we're going to see how it goes from there. All right, so that is that. On that, I'm very sure we've gotten a very good insight on that. So while I wait for the heat map economic surprise middle, let's take a look at what the latest finding looks like for the institution this week. Okay, this is for the non-commercial position. All right, so let's see how it goes. What are they buying? What are they selling? What did they buy? I think they bought some Bitcoin. That's very good. They bought some Bitcoin. Okay, they had it like almost 400 new long contracts in their Bitcoin portfolio, and they closed approximately the same thing. So, which is still, they're still generally short, all right, on Bitcoin anyway, because Bitcoin is crazy high, all right. Although I have a position on Bitcoin as we speak, okay, which is probably edge, all right. I'm still going to talk about that going forward, but that's where they are on Bitcoin. What are they doing on NZD? Like I said again, you can see almost the same thing. They added to their long contracts and they closed almost the same thing on their short contract as well. So everybody's just being very cautious right now because of the tariff. Australian dollar, okay, this is quite different because they added to their long contract, they also added to their short contract, like ×5 of what they added in their long contract. That's quite insane. Euro, in Europe, okay, I think they close both long and short, all right, in almost like multiple proportion, like 2 times of what they close in their short contract is what they close for their long. So I think they're still generally long anyways, but they're still more bearish. Okay, based on this particular new finding, I see they close 530 and they for short, and they close over 1,000 for long. So let's take a look at gold. What are they doing? They close some of their long contract on gold as well. That's saying something. They close 4,000 long contract and they added to their short contract like 3,004. That's something quite decent. Pay close attention to that. US oil, they close a chunk load of their short, okay, of their long, and they added new short. That's very good because I'm also generally bearish on US oil, WTI, which is one of my trade recommendations, by the way. So you see how that goes. Silver. They close some of their long. The same thing they did with gold anyway. You can see where's gold again. This gold, 4,000. And you can see they added to their short in both places. Okay, they added to their short in both places and close some of their long contracts in both assets. Okay, you can see gold and silver right there. So they're literally just shredding some of their long. Maybe they think gold is way too high that it has to fall. And with the Trump and Putin conversation in Alaska that took place yesterday. So and further with the concurrent meeting that they'll be having, possibly, I mean, we might see some peace around the world. And Trump will end up collecting that Peace Prize award that he has always, the Nobel Peace Prize award that he has always wanted. So maybe everybody will win, Trump will win, and the rest of us in the world will also win by experiencing some peace and calm all around the world. And I hope the same thing happened in the Middle East as well. So for the Japanese yen, both long and short contract was added. That is something to also watch out for. You can see right here we have 4,000 newly added long contract, over 4,000, and over 12,000 newly added short contract as well. That is something, all right? And lastly, let's take a look at S&P 500 right here. They close some of their long contracts and they added to their short contract on S&P 500. And as you can see right here, they still generally bearish on S&P 500. That is not easy, all right? That's a sight to actually be. That's a sight right there. I don't really have any buyers on S&P 500 right now. But if anything happens on SPX, we'll talk about it maybe next week or during the week. So that is that. Economic surprise meter is not loading up. Maybe my internet, I don't know, but I'll give you another shot. I'll come back to it when I'm done with the top setup. If not, I'm just going to move forward without talking about it. But we saw what it was earlier, so you can just go back and watch it, take a screenshot, then we move forward from there. But if it loads up again, then that will be fine. So moving on, gold right here, this on the top setup page right here, you can see gold and silver are the only asset that are quite bullish. All right, earlier this week, which was yesterday, all right, I saw EU, I saw GU, I saw a few other assets like that are pretty bullish. All right, but they are now disappeared. Probably they reduced by 0.1 or 1 or 2, whatever. Okay, but anyways, I'm still quite holding buy on EU anyways. So because the technical structure is very good. Just so we're clear on that. So, but based on what we are seeing right here, gold and silver are good. I'm looking to buy gold. Silver, I'm also looking to buy silver. I closed my buy position on gold last week Friday because before the market closed. I have a very tiny 0.01 tiny gold and silver trade, which I'll be adding to wait from next week. So let's pay close attention to that as well. So you can see right here we have a lot of bearish and a lot of sell or bearish setup. You can see we started from Usdjpy very bearish, USDCHF very bearish. A friend and I we are looking into shorting USDCHF actually, but USDJPY is still questionable. US oil, I'm also looking to short it. Okay, EURJPY, I'm looking to short it. EURGBP, looking to short. GJ, looking to short. All right, UCAD, I'm not a big fan of UCAD for now. but it looks very good. I've not even checked it today, but maybe I will check it later. I don't know. All right, but for now, everything looks super cool on this. I have USDCHF, Usdjpy, US oil, EURJPY, pound yen as one of my trade recommendation. I also have BTC and ETH. Okay, so if you want to check the trade recommendation, just keep watching. All right, keep watching. So that said, this one is still not loading up. I guess that's that. So let's talk about the chart very quickly. Let's talk about my open positions. So gold. I'm still pretty cool on gold. I'm still pretty bullish on gold, to be honest with you. But with the look of things, I think we might get, the reason why I closed my trade last week is because we might get a break below here, which would not be very, very good. Okay, which would not be very, very good. So if we break below here, then we have this particular region that we can look for buy opportunity at. And if this particular region failed to hold the price, then we're back to square one, which is around the 3,270, 3,220 region right here that we can anticipate to buy from moving forward. As far as gold is concerned, okay, in my personal opinion. All right. So that is that on gold. Please pay close attention to that. I have a potential buy trade plan on it that could two ways, right? You can continue to pump above here, but you can see we have a low here, we have a higher low here. So if this break below here and pull back like this will make a new higher low, and it could come pretty lower. I'm not going to suggest selling from the top here, but let's just see what happens next week. Okay, we might get a very quick shot all the way down to this region before we now look for buy opportunity, but it's not clear yet. Gold is not super clear yet for me right now. All right, that is why I would potentially love to see how it goes. And yes, again, taking a look at the edge finder right here, you can see, again, I just refreshed the page right now. You can see gold and silver very bullish, 11 and 9. We have Euro US dollar bullish, a score of 5. We still have US oil, USD Gbpjpy very bearish. USD ZAR, copper also very bearish. Euro Gbpjpy also very bearish. So I'm interested in Euro Gbpjpy. I'm interested in US oil, USD Gbpjpy. I already have a buy trade on euro dollar, so that's pretty cool. Like I said, they were there before they vanished. Now they're back. Okay, it get refreshed and it collates so many data, so it's very normal for this to happen. I just refresh it every 30 minutes anyways. I wish there's a way I can refresh it automatically every 30 minutes. That would take the loads up. So technically and fundamentally, gold is still pretty bullish based on edge finder suggestion and recommendation. But there's a possibility that we could grab some momentum right here to the upside, or maybe the market will drop to this particular region all the way to the upside. So pay close attention to gold. Any region that makes sense to you, make it. You can DCA it. In my personal opinion, I might probably just gonna DCA this one. Take a buy here, take another buy here, take another buy here, or put a buy limit on those regions. Just make them very small positions, and put your stop loss at the bottom here. If you have that much, a big account, if you have an account below $5,000, this might not be something you might want to look into. Okay, if you have a $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 account, yeah, you might just use a very small lot sizes on all of this. The old stop loss, if everything come back to take you out, you might not lose more than $200, to be honest with you. Okay, and if it ends up being very well, if you get this one, you're looking at roughly around, even on a single trade, you're looking at roughly, all right, around maybe 250 trade, $250 on a single one. All right, so just pay close attention to it. It might be very, very good. All right, so that's just my idea on gold. It's pretty bullish. Okay, that's what I would do. This is my buy region right here. I've said this like 500 times already, so let's move on. Another trade I'm holding is Euro Aussie. I'm buying Euro Aussie. I've been buying for a while now. It's been very, very dramatic. But right now, I'm seeing a fresh, a breath of fresh air, or yeah, something like that. So it looks very good. Euro Aussie looks really good. I'm anticipating for a bigger move to the upside. Get back to this region. Okay, this zero Fibonacci region or level right here, back to this previous high, and then I will anticipate a pullback to this particular level. I will have to the trade, and that might only be the only additional position that we had to the trade, because I'm actually this is a very small position I have right here, so I will just add the rest of the position to it at the top here, and we'll see if it's going to move to the upside moving forward. Okay, I'm not trading this yet, still very much cool, but let's see how it goes next week on Euro Aussie. Euro USD is a the full-blown war with me last week, because I have these two positions running. Okay, I joined the first one around here, went up, pulled back because of the CPI, PPI theatrics. It was crazy. All right, so I added another buy around this region, and I added another buy. No, this is second buy right here. This was more cool. Okay, I did this while I was on my mobile phone. That's why it looks very weird like that. I took a buy there and I added another one right there. This one's already been trailed. Okay, this particular one's already been trailed. The second one is still floating the full stop loss. I'm looking forward to grab all my profit at that 1.1830 region. All right, 1.1830 region. So if you get to that region, I will take out the profit. But as time goes on, as the trade builds up, I'll be partial closing the trade moving forward. All right, so that is that on Euro USD. Bitcoin is dramatic. Just so you know, I was able to ride this particular bullish momentum to the upside. In Bitcoin, it was fabulous, it was sweet. I made a very decent profit on Bitcoin. Now I took a fresh buy. It was actually a very late buy. I would say normally I would have taken a buy right here, but regardless, it will still be in a drawdown. Regardless, if the market is bullish, it's gonna go up. If it's not bullish, no matter where you join the trade, even with the sniper's entry, still gonna get a loss unless you are very scared and you just took the trade out very early. But someone like me, I just leave the trade to run its course. Is it a loss or profit? It can only be two ways. But mind you, on the 1 hour time frame on Bitcoin, I took a short trade last night. Last night Friday. You know, when everything is closed, I took a short trade right here. Okay, or somewhere around here. I can't really remember. I don't want to check my tab right now. So roughly around this, but I'm gonna put the picture at the top so you see. So I took a short trade right here just to mitigate or relieve this particular buy trade I'm holding. Okay, it's not gonna relieve it fully, but if I get a very good profit on this one, yeah, this particular stop loss, then when the market gets to this particular region, it would be very good because the trade would have been like 1-to-1. I lose one, I'm making one already, but it's gonna be a floating profit. All right. And why did I take this short? Because my broker can allow me to do that, number one. And number two, you can see we have like a break and which is a structure right here. Okay, we have a structure here, we have a structure here. They've all been violated right there, and they've already been turned to resistance, where they were actually, it was actually acting as support before, and now they've all turned to resistance right here. I mean, they've all turned to, yeah, literally resistance right there. It was previously support, now turned to resistance, and now we are seeing something like this. So I don't want to be oblivious and overlook what is happening right in front of me. Sometimes I do that, especially when I'm being busy or I'm focused on the 4 hour time frame. But this time around, I've got to be cautious. All right, that's why I took that short. So you can see we have a low, high, low, high, low. All right, this is not the time to draw Fibonacci because Fibonacci is useless on Bitcoin. It's like Fibonacci works like maybe 30 to 45% of time, and that's me being generous. Actually, I'm generous with the 45%. 30 to 45% of the time, that's when Fibonacci works with this particular asset. It doesn't work all the time. You just have to focus on the structure, okay? The support, the resistance, demand, the supply. You can have that on the lock. You make good money. Anyways, so that's that. That's why I'm shorting Bitcoin moving forward. You see how that goes. I don't want to spend so much time, and I'm already spending it. So let me keep running. And lastly, on my open position, I have XZD-USD. This is an horrific one, by the way. Okay, I have just a single position on it. It's more like in a drawdown, very small order like that. So let's see how it goes. I told you I'm buying. And the reason I'm buying, even though it's not among the recommended pair on H-Finder, the reason why I'm buying this one is because you can see it came to a very, very heavy low right here. And we got this massive pump to the upside, which ends up ranging at the bottom here. Okay. And I just grabbed this supply. I mean, this demand zone right here. I didn't want to buy it as well. Dollar is not strong right now. It's very weak. So potentially we will likely see NZD actually move all the way to the upside in the next couple of days or potentially weeks. Okay, I'm willing to leave this trade to run its course for as long as possible, as long as it is potentially ready to run. All right, and when you take a look at the fundamental part of NZD, it's something like the NZD economic heat map. All right, so let me see if I can get that for you real quickly. I'm just going to continue and show it to you later. All right. But fundamentally, NZD is one of the strong economy right now. So that's just that. Now, jumping to my trade recommendation, let's start with silver. So silver looks very good, as you can see right here. It came all the way back to, I'm coming. Let me quickly get you the NZD economic heat map if it's going to come up. All right. So that's that. So back to silver. Silver looks awfully good. And last week I said I was shorting NZD from here. I guess it's from here. I was able to take some very small profit around this when the market is going back up. All right, went back up, dropped down again, and I took a buy right there. It's a very, 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 very minute position. I must tell you that. all right? Because even this pullback is not 50% yet. This amount, this is where the 50% lies, and that is just that of silver. Okay, silver looks super sweet right now. We can, I don't want to say you can trust this, because don't forget, this is not a financial advice, but this looks structurally cool, all right? Silver is bullish all the way, all right, all the way from 2024, yeah, somewhere from here, 2024, based on high low, high low, high low, and then we have a new high. Potentially, we might get a pull back to this region and then up it goes from there. So for now, silver is super cool to look for buy opportunity, and I want to probably target this region right here, that 39.50 region, right around there. That might be a very good place to target for silver. So I'm currently buying. If it breaks below here, get something like this, yeah, you might want to take a shot. Okay, take the buy out and quickly take a short trade, because if it breaks below this particular region, I mean, I have like 75%. There's a 75% possibility. I don't want to speak weird. Like, I don't know anything. All right, bro, there's a possibility. There's 75% possibility that it's gonna come back to this 36 zone right here. Okay, 36, 50, 36, 30, 36, 40 zone right here. All right, so I will definitely take this short trade. But anything outside of that, anything above here, I see things. I see things in color. I see it for what it is. I'll be buying silver all the way to the top right there. So here to here, buy. This box is buy. Below here is what is a sell for me. So like I said, I see it for what it is. So going back to NZD, New Zealand economic heat map, you can see that we have a very good economy. They have a very decent economy. The retail sales is quite good. All right. CPI looks decent, 2.7%. PPI 2.1%, fabulous. So very close to target. Unemployment rate decently cool, okay, considering the economic size, okay, their country size, and unemployment change, I mean, it's very cool also. All right, although it drops, but still pretty decent. GDP growth is looking very sharp. Manufacturing PMI is booming. Service PMI was booming. All right, the last time they all released. Don't forget, most of their data comes quarterly. All right, so that makes it very good also. Okay, because measuring them on a monthly basis can be very complicated. It's not as expand or as exposed as the United States, as the United Kingdom, that you can actually drop their data on a monthly basis. But this comes quarterly, so it makes it makes decent sense. It's more like someone trading the 1 hour time frame and the daily time frame. Okay, if you're trading on the daily time frame, you have more peace than someone trading on the 1 hour time frame. I'm just saying. But it doesn't mean you're gonna make more profit than the other person, okay? And vice versa. But when it comes to peace of mind, trading cool and calm, yeah, the person trading on the daily time frame are gonna make a better life decision than the person always fixating on the chart every 1 hour. I'm just saying. So silver is done. ETH, what's the plan on Ethereum? Yeah, there's something on Bitcoin I want to talk about. I didn't cover. So back on Bitcoin. Now, if the market break below here, like I said, I have a short trade. So that would be a very good one to take this short, because a break below this region means the market is coming back to retest all this demand zone. Okay, all this demand zone on the 1 hour time frame that never go mitigated. Okay, we have a demand right here, we have a demand right here, we have a demand right here, and then the ultimate demand again here, there's another one right at the back there. So we might get all of that covered and filled if Bitcoin decided to drop further down. Anything outside of that, just anticipate for more buy trade on Bitcoin all the way to the upside. I'm actually forecasting a fresh new all-time high at 125k. So that's just me thinking out loud. So back to Ethereum. All right, we're done with Bitcoin now. Back to Ethereum. Ethereum mitigated the 4,780 region at the top here. So it's taking a break right now, and it's grabbing some momentum here. Okay, is it gonna fly to the upside? It has a very good potential of doing that. I was shorting right here. My stop loss was above here, and I got taken out. I got taken out in like 3 days. Easy. Okay, easy stuff. So I'm definitely not gonna be the guy that is selling from the top. I'm not gonna be calling the top. I did that last week. It didn't work very well. So it was a very small risk, and I know what I was doing, but it didn't work either way. So right now, I will either buy from this region right here. If I see a good entry around here, on if it break below here on Ethereum, I'll probably be selling all the way back to this demand zone, or probably this particular one right here. You can see all this region. There are potential take profits for a sell trade on Ethereum. So pay close attention to that as time goes on. That's my take on Ethereum. USDCHF, I'm ultimately bearish on USDCHF. All right. But taking a look at this right now, I would say a more conservative entry would be below here. Okay, below here, right here. That would be my entry. I'm going to short USDCHF. However, if you are a demand and supply zone trader, you might want to short right here, or ultimately right here. And then another ultimately, you can short at the top here. Okay, these are very good. Excuse me, my mouse can be very weird sometimes. But these are very good region to sell. Okay, these are very good region to short, and this particular one as well. All right, but I would be considering selling from the bottom here. This is how it's going to look like for me. I don't really fancy all these things, except the market has been extremely extended. Then I can sell from some demand, from supply, and buy from demand. But if there's a trend, you can see we have high, lower high, lower high. Okay, so we are getting a series of lower highs, right? So I would just want this to continue a projection like this to the downside, right? Instead of trying to sell the SMC week. I don't do that like that. Okay, but I will look into it if it makes sense. I might, but I would prefer this one, okay, to any other one. So that's just my own take on that. WTI, my time is fast spent. WTI, real quickly. Again, I'm waiting for a pullback. All right, I'm waiting for a pullback to this region right here, so I can short it. If it doesn't come back to that region, I might not take that trade. As a matter of fact, I would love to watch WTI go. Okay, unless it comes to my region of entry, my position of interest or place of interest or area of interest, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this is that area, position, and the place and the point. Okay, this particular place, that's 65.50 region. Okay, 65.50 region. That will be where I'll be looking to short WTI all the way down to 55.50. Okay, that would be my area of target in WTI. So pay close attention to that. Don't forget we have some demand zone right here that could pose as a challenge, but I don't see them winning that race. Okay, so that's that on WTI. Which other one? We have Usdjpy. It also looks very good. Okay, we've talked about gold, we've talked about BTC, we've talked about Ethereum, we've talked about USDCHF, silver, WTI. Okay, what is left with the yen pairs? So USDJPY, based on H-Filer top setup, you can see we have few yen pairs. We have USDJPY, earlier we have GJ, and we have EJ as well. But I'm just going to focus on USDJPY and potentially GJ, right, for a trade recommendation on those yen pairs. So the USDJPY, if dollar continues to be weak, all right, if it continues to get super weak here in the next couple of days, and you see a break below this region on USDJPY, please don't miss out on this. Okay, it could be a full-blown drop, something like this. Okay, so don't miss out on it at all. So that's the simple entry on USDJPY. If it break above here, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm interested in buying USDJPY. I'm not super sure. I'm interested in buying USDJPY right now. I would lean to shorting it than buying it. Okay, I will lean to selling USDJPY than buying it, honestly. So I'm just gonna keep it on the low, the one particular phase, short opportunity on USDJPY. So GJ. I was gonna short GJ last week, but I'm still waiting. I've tried some time ago to short GJ, but it did not work very well. All right, I tried around here. After this, I tried around here, right here. When it came back to this particular zone to short it, it didn't work very well. I got taken out. Around there. I got took out, taken out, whatever. Right. It was I was closed out at the top here. So since then I've been watching this 200 zone right here, and it's not looking very good for me. You can see we have a range here, and that is also not enough for me. Okay, I don't like that. I want a clear break, pullback. Then we have a free market gap. We have a free value gap right there. So we have a demand zone. Maybe I'll be targeting that zone right there, or maybe this extreme zone at the bottom here. That will be where I'll be targeting moving forward. So for now, GJ, I'm not shorting yet, but it's just gonna look like this, to be honest with you. This is gonna look like. Eventually, that's that. Okay. Come below here, pull back, sell it to the end of the earth. That's that on GJ. And lastly, let's talk about Pound Aussie. And that's where I'll be rounding off for today. Pound Aussie was a good one. Okay, just like Euro Aussie that I'm currently buying. I would have added to this one, but I got distracted. I was busy during the week. I think this happened on Wednesday. I was out. I don't like entering a trade with my phone. Okay, so I couldn't pick this one. And now the plan is to see if we can get it back to this region. Then I will buy all the way to the upside. Simple arithmetic. You can see we have a serious momentum. That is not right. So let's try it again. High, low, high, low, high, low. Back to the zone. And then maybe we get it all the way to the top here. Simple stuff. But overall, I think this is more like in a range. Yeah, something like that. But overall, it's bullish. Okay. Overall, in a really, really long time, it's a very bullish pair. So it could get something like this all the way to the upside. Could get extended very fast, very crazy. And considering the fact that Australian Reserve Bank of Australia are also busy there on the traction of cutting rates, so that could also help this particular one if the United Kingdom Fed, which is Bank of England, the likes of Governor Bailey, decided to hold off on cutting rates for like maybe the rest of the year, which I don't think is possible. But if they do, that would be very good for this particular pair. All right. I mean, Aussie cutting rates being awfully bearish, and UK has just keeping their cool. What could go wrong, right? With a very hot inflation, but that would be that would be I don't know the English I'm gonna use. That would be like oh god, I can't say. But it's gonna be very cool. It's gonna be very cool. So, anyways, guys, I will see you in the next one. Please don't get margin call. Please take care of your account, protect your account at all costs. Okay. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere. All right. And if you have any question, please ask me in the comment section. I'm always reading, even though it's very, very small. I'm always reading. I'm always checking. So let me know what you think. Have a good one. Bye for now.